weather's absolutely perfect right now. I mean, this is Erie, Pennsylvania. If it's not raining, it's snowing. And the other small percentage of the days where it's not doing that, this is one of them. So I'm not complaining too much about that at all. Snow melt off. I'm hoping it got the streams up a little bit, but we'll see what they look like whenever we get over to them. Well, the epic journey from Virginia is finally over. Just making off the highway up here in Erie. Stopped last night in Greensburg and then finished the drive this morning. So moment of truth. We'll see what the stream looks like here in a few minutes. Going on my 7th fishing year with the same set of waders. Love these things. Like I said earlier, I was hoping that the snow runoff was gonna cloudy them up just a little bit. Didn't happen. Erie's one of those things where very few days out of the year is it actually perfect. Today is definitely not one of them. It's not raining, it's not snowing, so it could always be worse, but the stream conditions are a little bit rough. Fish have been pressured hard the last couple weeks, so we'll give it a go.
Got him treated. Let's go, boys. Let's get in there and see what we got.
It'd be nicer if it was about 20 degrees warmer. Can't feel my fingers. Just want the sun to hit the water.
De-icing. This is the problem this time of year. It's supposed to warm up this afternoon, but right now it's absolutely miserable. There's slush that's in the stream, so we're fighting that to get down into the water. And then every 3 or 4 casts, you got to de-ice your line. It's a little bit of a struggle right now. Fish haven't woke up, so keep after it. First hour or so of fishing, we're just fighting the ice. We're fighting the slush, we're fighting the freezing temperatures. I looked down at one of my flies and it looks like a popsicle. It's just got ice built up all around it. Changed up tactics. I had minnows, little emerald shiners with me. We put those on, started throwing those, and we're punching with heavy weight down through the slush just to try to get to these fish. Seven, 8 hour drive up from Virginia. This is why we come up here. They'll get, another 10 plus inches on this one for a normal one, but this fish is pretty nice. Still pretty fresh, but absolutely beautiful fish. Cranked that minnow pretty hard, so that's 2 fish in probably the last 10 minutes. I was hoping it was gonna pick up as the sun started coming up, so we'll keep throwing at them. There's a bunch of fish that are staged up in here. I do want to keep a couple fish today, but since this is the first one, we'll let this one go and keep at them. Go. Now my hands are wet. Once that ice started to go away, I'm hitting bottom every time now. A lot of the fish that were in there were those really light colored ones, like right where that light spot is, where the shelf comes down in, every now and then I'll see one dart out of this darker water and then come up into that, and then they kind of hang back out. There's one. That is a pretty fish, though. Try to get back to this. Got him. It's not a big one, but this jack's got so much life in him.
What do you got, Jeremy?
Nice little crummer. Little guy, but I'll take it. It's been so slow this morning. I'll take anything at this point. The little smolts in here look like sardines. There's so many of them. It's hard to get through them to actually get to a big steelhead. We get to this spot, there's probably a pot of 60 to 80 fish that are stacked up. They're all jacks, but there's a good pot of fish that's in there. So we put in our time, we start casting these fish. You don't have to reinvent the wheel when you're fishing for steelhead. Single eggs, minnows, it's a slam dunk combination for these fish. And we're fishing, the water's decent. We could see some of the fish, but it's not low and crystal clear. The fish just weren't eating. So it took repetitive casting over and over and over and over again, the same fish, and every once in a while you get one and be like, okay, I'm gonna eat. This little guy right here is the future to the Lake Erie Steelhead fishery. This is a little baby steelhead, or a smolt as they call them. Pennsylvania Fish Commission stocks these every year in all these streams, and this is what allows this fishery to be sustainable. Without the stockings of these fish, steelhead wouldn't be here.
So every fall, we start usually the first week in November. We'll go down and collect upwards of probably 3,000 adult fish every year. Then the following week, we'll spawn those fish. After about a year plus, the fish are stocked. In early spring, like this time of year, we're running smolts out to the creeks right now. Hopefully with the ability to imprint on that stream, they'll come back to that stream within a couple years. As we stock them as a 7-inch fish, hopefully they come back as a mid 20-inch fish, 25 to 30-inch fish. We expect about a 10% survival from those million smolts that we put out there. There's a lot of fish out in the Lake Erie watershed that we have to feed, that some of these smolts will get hammered on when they emigrate out of the creeks. The program was started in the 60s with just a handful of steelhead brought in from Washington State. That program has grown into what the economic monster that it is right now, that instead of having a 6 weeks stream fishery, now we get the fish start coming in around Labor Day, and we have fish all the way in through May. We'll get multiple runs of fish. And this time of the year, the runs start picking up a little bit more. You get a lot of precocious males that come back as jacks. And get a couple big females that come in. The last couple of state records were caught in April, actually. The last one was caught on April Fool's Day. It's just over a 20-pound fish. It's just enormous for a steelhead for Lake Erie. The steelhead fishery is almost entirely artificial. That means we stock it. There is a few wild fish in some of the streams, but if we would quit stocking these things, the fishery would quickly disappear. These fish are a huge economic boost for this area. We have, if you go to any of the accesses, you'll find multiple states in the parking lots. Canadian plates all the time, New York, and of course Ohio. They're a blast to catch. They pull really, really hard, like trout on steroids. We have a really, really good fishery right now over. It's something to be pretty excited about.
Come on. Yep, they're not very cooperative, but they're here. There we go. "47 casts later, little jack. She gone. Well, that's all we wrote for minnows. Bait store run. Well, that's a wrap for this morning. Fish were very selective. I don't know, there's got to be 50, 60 fish at least in through here. We still managed to go through 2 or 3 dozen minnows. We're gonna head back, go pick up some more bait, and charge some batteries and get back out here this afternoon. Probably gonna go hit a different section of Elk Creek, but we'll see. Just gotta travel around and see where the fish are.
Our location is like prime for all the seasons because we're right here at the streams. So steelhead season is our busiest time. And then we have the lake fishing all summer. We have a little bit of ice fishing and stuff like that, but steelhead also through the winter, so. There's a red light now, I noticed. Over here. Since about the 1950s is when it started. I'm the second generation, actually, of our family. So we have fish cleaning, fish smoking. We do fishing licenses. We have a really large inventory compared to any other bait shop really around. We're known for our single eggs, for our cured, they're a hard cure. People from West Virginia and Pittsburgh, like people come all over the place and they'll get 50 vials or more for all their buddies for trout season and steelhead season in general. These are our egg sacs. They come in 6 different colors. And then we have our single eggs. We have the small vial and the large vial. Typically your most natural baits, your eggs and your minnows or anything that represents it is your best bait. With the water being low and clear right now, you definitely want to go with the minnows. Have been hot today, but eggs also. Single eggs work better right now just because it is so low and clear compared to egg sacs. So what's so good about them is it mimics what they're laying. So it's kind of like a target for them. They don't want anybody else's eggs to be the ones that make another fish. The more you switch it up and you're not using what anybody else is using around you, the more likely you are to catch fish.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, have a great day. Come check us out here at Port Richards in Erie, Pennsylvania. My name's Brittany and I'll be more than happy to help you.
So this morning, we were sticking with the fly rod. I threw every fly that I had in the box. Couldn't pay a fish to take a fly, but we did stick a few fish on some minnows. So this afternoon, I'm gonna bust out my 8.5 foot TFO spinning rod. We're just gonna stick with minnows all afternoon, see if we can get some better fish numbers. This water is low and crystal clear. I'm running 8 pound on this rod, but I'm gonna tie probably a 4 foot section of some fluoro just to see if that'll help us out a little bit. But it's definitely gonna be challenging fishing this afternoon. Leave it alone. They're pretty little guys. They're just about 10 pounds short from where they need to be right now. That's gonna be the ticket the rest of the day. We're just gonna float minnows down through all these holes and see whenever the fish wanna start eating. Smolts. Maybe. It's very convincing. Heading down?
Yeah, I caught some smolts up there.
Oh my God, there's so many in here. I've had like 2 drifts through here where they weren't smacking it. So what I'm thinking about doing, as much as I like this hole, every cast is a smolt. At least we can go down there, we can get around the clouds of the smoke, the clouds of the smolts, and get cast to actual steelhead. So I think that's gonna be the play for the remainder of the day. See if we can hook up with a couple other decent ones. So downstream we go. There you go.
Is that a Erie Steelhead? That's the Lake Erie Steelhead.
Good news is I figured them out. When I'm throwing a spinning rod for these, I'll usually use these floats. They're nice, they're lightweight, but they still hold enough weight that if you're throwing stuff with one split shot or no split shot at all, you can have a little bit of weight to it to get some distance on your cast. Land softly in the water, it's not gonna spook fish, so it's a good little float up here. So much power in these fish. Come on, right in this little quiet spot. Out of the current, out of the current. There we go. That's what we came up for. That's a beautiful Erie chroma right there. Got a little bit of battle wounds on it from coming up into the stream. Starting to get a little bit darker, but earlier in the fall, these fish will be bright chrome, and then they start getting the little rainbow markings to them, but still an absolutely gorgeous fish. That's a good average size Lake Erie Steelhead. Pretty. But that's the reason I keep coming back here every year. So much power in a fish this big. And I mean, we've caught them 10, 12 pounds up in here before, but still a beautiful fish. Well, that was one of those special days up here at Erie. If we were counting hookups and breakoffs, I'd be doing pretty good. It was a fight all morning. Once it warmed up, we had some snow melt off. It got the streams up and moving a little bit, turned them a little bit green. Fish turned on slightly as the afternoon progressed, but overall, it's kind of a slow day. Erie sometimes does that to you. It's, you know, I've come up here and had banner days where you get 20 or 30 fish netted. Also come up here some days and had 1 or 2 hookups. It's always a great experience coming up here and fishing, regardless of what the fish do. You get to fish the same stretch of water that you fished for 10, 15 years. It's always a good time up here.